It's never in a little tiny jar. It's a team effort, and in particular, on our side of things, Joe Quesada, Dan Buckley, and Alan Fine, and then everybody that works at Marvel Television, our incredible partnership with the folks at ABC Studios, and then, of course, you know, for this particular group, we can't do anything without our network, which is ABC, and in particular, Paul Lee. And so, if you'll give them a big giant... There are 93 really bright lights in my face, so I can't really see you. So, if I ask a question or something like that, just make sure that you respond loudly, I think is what we This is the place where you're partying. This is the place where you can say whatever it is that is on your mind. Which actually, you know, one of the things I was thinking about that was different from last year. How many of you were here last year? We'll have surprises today. But I think one of the things that happened during the course of the year of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was we learned, don't trust it. The reason why we learned that was because, well, there was a little organization called... I'm just curious about something. Are there people here who are fans of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I have a side bet going with a certain cast member, and I think you can guess who he is. That side bet. Are there any fans here of Hydra? You know, one of the things that you have to be very careful about is you just don't know who you can trust. Just at any moment, I'll ask you one more time. Are there fans here from Hydra? But more importantly, are there fans here from S.H.I.E.L.D.? Remind all of you again, we will be premiering on ABC on September 23rd, Tuesday night, and we have a brand new time. We're not at 8. What time are we on? I'm sorry, what time are we on? Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Now, here's the part that's super cool. Before there was Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there was... You guys know where we're recording. Marvel's Agent Carter. A brand new bold step for Marvel Television, for ABC Studios, and for everybody that's involved. But you can't just make one of these shows. You need to do what we do best, and that is to get the best people. So I need to know, are there any fans here of a show called Reaper? Fans here of a show called Resurrection? Well, two of our executive producers and the gals that are actually going to be running the show are Tara Butters and Michelle Fazekas, and they're coming out right now.
Pass it down all the way, one per person.
Is there anybody
No
in this
seat,
room
no-
who has seen Captain America: The First Avenger?
Just be-
Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Let's get past the top. Get
Two
past the
guys who
top.
are responsible for writing both films and
Now,
creating
pass
the
it down.
character of Agent Carter, and they are Chris Marcus and Stephen Feely, and they are executive producers, and they have written the pilot for the show. None of this here, us, what we're doing, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, would happen without a gentleman who is the co-president of the studio. He's the director of Esposito. And now, you know, let's just face it. We did come here to see all these
This
wonderful
is
folks.
yours,
And
this is
to
yours.
see
Thank
and
you
to
very
know
much.
But if I had to place a bet, my bet would be that the person that you really came here to see was, ladies and gentlemen, the incredibly talented, the incredibly lovely, and the unbelievably kick-ass hero of our story, and that is Ilya. These guys, and then we're going to open the floor to you guys. So I think I'll start with Tara and Michelle. How did you guys get involved with Marvel and with this particular show?
Well, we were running Resurrection the first season, and we wrapped up, and ABC came to us and said, hey, we have this thing called Agent Carter. Would you be interested in getting involved in it? And we didn't even have to think about it. It was kind of a dream come true. And then Resurrection did really well, and so we thought, oh, well, I guess we'll go back to Resurrection and not do Agent Carter. And then ABC said, hey, can you do both? So we said yes. And being here today, I think we made an excellent choice.
Chris and Steven, what's it like? I mean, you guys created characters or bring characters from the pages of comic book to the big screen, all the way back into 2009 when I actually had hair. So now, what's going on? What's that like as creators, and then to suddenly see your creation live on?
We're like proud parents. And no, seriously, we keep trying to kill her, and she will not. It's very gratifying because in the first Avenger, we set up all these characters that we really loved, particularly Peggy Carter, and then Steve had the nerve to freeze himself for 70 years. We couldn't bring anybody back for the second movie except very old Peggy who couldn't get out of bed. So having this show is this great opportunity to go back and mine this really rich territory that we never got a chance to play with.
Yeah, I mean, it occurs to us that, Peggy Carter has been in, say, a half hour of a 2-hour first Avenger movie, and she's been in 12 minutes of a really good one-shot. And in the pilot, she will have equaled her entire time on screen in the Marvel Universe, right? That's a really cool opportunity because there's just plenty for us to do, let alone in an 8-episode series.
Louis, you had the pleasure of directing Haley and in the one-shot. What's it like working with the next superstar on television?
It's very difficult. She's the greatest. She's such a talented actress. We knew we had something special when Kaylee came in for casting on Captain America, the First Avenger. I couldn't contain my excitement when she walked in to meet us. I think she could tell by my smile that she got the part. And myself, Joe Johnson, Kevin Feige, and Stephen all, we knew right away we had to do it.
She's a rock star. And speaking of that, Haley, Peggy, what does she mean to you? What goes on in your head when you think about, and what happened when you read, because I was there the day that they handed you the script for the first episode.
I was locked in the room and I couldn't leave until I finished reading.
She did. We put her on lockdown.
Yeah.
And you read the script for the first time, and you had a couple of concerns before you read the script, but then you read it, and what happened?
Well, the exciting thing with Peggy is that I don't feel like we've even touched the size of the adventures that she can have and the powers that she has. So it was great to do Captain America 1 and then play her obviously as an old lady in 2 and then do the one-shot. But I feel like there's still so much that's unexplored. And so the pilot, the first episode that I've read, is just the beginning of what is going to be an incredible opportunity for her to develop as a human being as well as this super spy. We see the kind of cost psychologically and emotionally on someone who's having to take on such extreme pressure and stress in her life and yet still hold it together. So it's going to be really exciting.
So, rather than just talking a little bit about it, we haven't started shooting. The writer's room is going to open shortly. And for those of you that don't know, the story takes place in what year? 1946. The war is over, Steve is gone, and Peggy is trying to pick up the pieces of her life. What's kind of fascinating, and we'll talk about this a lot during this hour, is that there's stuff that's going on in S.H.I.E.L.D. present day, but we have this incredible opportunity to be able to show you and tell you the story of what went on at the very beginning and how Peggy's dream and Peggy's concerns about what the world should be and how to make the world a better place is so many of the themes that we'll be working on with this show. But rather than just talk about it, you guys want to see a little something that Jenny, can we make this happen? Jenny Deathlock. I don't want this to get lost. We have another surprise along the way, and that's one of the great parts about doing this with someone like Lewis is that this is really a true partnership between Marvel Television and Marvel Studios, the folks that are bringing you this little movie that's about to open called Guardians of the Galaxy. And Lewis, you're directing the first episode, but we do have a little bit of exciting news that there's some other creative filmmakers that are thinking about coming on board. And can you tell the folks a little bit about that?
Well, my deal hasn't been signed yet, but first episode. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to tell you things that I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to say it anyway. The directors from Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Joe Russo and Anthony Russo, second and third episode they'll be directing. I just got off the phone with him. I just spoke to Joe Johnston, and he wants to do the fourth episode.
Joe will direct the
First Captain America. And if the schedule works out, that'll be the first 4 directors.
It's a pretty extraordinary group of people. It's going to be an amazing show. It starts in 2015. I think we have just a little bit of time for a couple questions from the audience. Do we have a mic somewhere? I can't see anything. There it is. Oh, look! It's Peggy Carter.
Hi. As a female who wants to be a cop, I'm really excited about how accurately Peggy Carter is portrayed in her military role. Is that praise that you got? Were you expecting that? And is that going to influence the show?
I get this.
Sorry, say that again. What's going to influence the show?
The accuracy of her military role, because just the way she handles herself is pretty accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got a fantastic research team on board just to make sure that every reference that we make is somehow backed up with authenticity, so we know what we're talking about. We've seen a little bit about her military background in the first and second one. We'll explore that further as we go along. But that's also kind of my job as well, to make sure that I make her as accurate as I possibly can so that she's relatable to more audiences.
Thank you. Do we have another question? Do we have another Peggy Carter? We do. I think that's
I know the show's going to be about Peggy mostly, but I was wondering if Dominic Cooper is going to make a return as Howard Stark since
I think I speak for everyone here that would be fantastic if that could happen. Next question from, I guess, the next Peggy Carter.
We've seen Peggy in very male-dominated worlds when she's working and serving. Will there be any other prominent female characters in the series?
We hope so. We actually have plans that we probably couldn't disclose to you, but yeah, I think certainly if you saw the one shot, much of the sort of dramatic tension comes from the fact that she is a woman working in a man's world after the war, after all the men have come home. But there are other women in that world too who are just as powerful, both good and bad, that we hope to see.
Oh, it's a great question. It feels a privilege. It's a very rare opportunity for me, for someone who's been working on stage and in television in the UK, to get a part on the kind of commercial global scale of something like this, as Marvel franchise, to also be portraying a woman who on the page I look up to as well. And when I was a little girl, there were parts like Peggy in lots of films and lots of things that I saw in television that I wanted to aspire to be to. So it's a great kind of huge bonus to be able to play someone that hopefully young women will look up to as role model.
And so many more secrets that we want to spill. What I'd like you to do is give a